My name is Bob Beatty, and I am a University of California Cooperative Extension Service Farm Advisor located in Kings County. And I have with me today my industry colleague and friend, Dr. Robert Klein with the California Pistachio Research Board. And Dr. Klein and I are going to help you understand the importance of this exciting new discovery, Af36, which is a special form of Aspergillus flavus, a fungus which creates mold in many crops in California. And the byproduct of this fungus is a so-called mycotoxin, which is a potential health hazard, and the industry strongly regulates the development of this mycotoxin in parts per billion, so that it is not a serious problem for those that consume mini crops. And Dr. Klein is with us today to give us a more scientific understanding.
Of course, it is a pesticide, so it's regulated by CDPR and EPA, so it's passed all their reviews. Last year we had a story on NPR's California report that was played throughout California, and we have received no negative comments, in fact only positive comments. People have been very fascinated by it. Aspergillus flavus 36. 36 refers to a strain designation, just a number. It's a strain of Aspergillus flavus. There's many different strains of Aspergillus flavus, but this is the one that does not produce any aflatoxin. It occurs naturally in orchards throughout California. It is not engineered. It was isolated from the soil. It is definitely natural, and in fact it's even received organic okay for some applications in pistachio. It's been a long process to get it to the point where it is in the registration and all. And the Arizona Cotton Council, who makes the product, started initially on the wheat. And in this case, they take wheat seed that has been devitalized, it's sterile, so it's not going to germinate when it's out there on after you apply it. It's not going to create a weed problem for you. It's sterile seed. And they inoculate it with aspergillus, make it nice and damp, get the F36 to infect, and then they dry it back down so it's a dry product before it has a chance to sporulate. So later on, when you see the application, you'll notice there's no dust, there's no spores coming off. It's nice, clean. You look at the wheat, you can't tell that it has any fungus in it. Because we put it in the area that is wetted along the berms, it sporulates, and it does it a little bit earlier and more efficiently than the strains that occur otherwise. And so it essentially ecologically displaces the toxigenic ones. You know, the rule in ecology is that whoever gets to that niche first gets it. And so we want to make sure the Af36 gets to that niche first.
How do these molds get into the nuts?
Well, it's closely associated with nut damage, and about 90% of our aflatoxin occurs in nuts that are damaged by navel orangeworm.
Okay.
So navel orangeworm control is very important, but it's not the sole criterion.
Okay, so it is important that in addition to the use of Af36, that growers are very good managers of their insect populations in not only pistachios, but certainly all other nut crops.
The more acreage that gets treated, the better, because when this fungus activates, then it releases spores, and the spores blow around. Pistachios are only one crop that's registered on. There's also corn in Texas, and there's also cotton, but pistachios as well.
So there could be the potential of having a tremendous amount of acreage, which is essentially protected by the use of Af36.
We're getting about 1.2 million pounds of product this year.
Wow.
But the application rate is suggested at 10 pounds per acre. And clearly, with our 200,000 bearing acres, we need a full 2 million pounds. So instead, the industry has decided, the processors in part, decided that it'd be better to treat 100% of the acres with half the rate than only 50% of the acres with a full rate. In every year, they only apply it once.
Only once.
One application, not multiple applications. In future years, it will be 10 pounds, and this year will apply, we suggest you apply at 10 pounds per acre as you set up your sprayer, but only treat every other berm. So you're making an application of 5 pounds per acre.
Okay, so then we're actually going to be putting on for this year 5 pounds per acre.
Yes, correct, Bob. 5 pounds per acre. Now there's a lot of concern about availability. People are calling around, but we're getting 1.2 million pounds of product. So it might take a little calling around to find somebody who has a supply, but there will be adequate supplies for everybody to apply.
Then of course the other question is when do farmers treat?
It doesn't do any good to put it on before it gets warm, because the Aspergillus likes it when it's pretty warm out. So we say from late May through about mid-July. If you put it out after mid-July, yes, you get some displacement, but it won't be enough to affect it'll carry over till the next year, but it won't be enough to affect what's going on in your crop this year.
The exciting aspect of AF36 is that it's going to give us yet another naturally occurring tool to further reduce the possibility of having aflatoxin at very low concentrations in our product.
Correct, Bob. It is a tool that we need because we don't have any other way to control the fungus that causes the aflatoxin.
Great.
So in the first year of application, we get about somewhere in the neighborhood of about a 50% displacement. In the second year of application, we get about it comes up to about 90%. In the third year, about 95%. Now, how fast does it revert? We don't know that quite yet. When you stop applications, how quickly does the population decline? Not clear, but I suspect that if you stopped application, that within about 5 years, it would probably revert to what the previous condition.
Now, my understanding, Dr. Klein, is that there has been a tremendous amount of research that has gone into developing this exciting new antigenic aspergillus.
That's true, Bob. The research on it began over 20 years ago by Dr. Peter Cotty with the USDA, and he worked with the Arizona Cotton Protection and Research Council, who makes the product. Dr. Themis Michelides then picked up on Peter Cotty's work and adapted it for our use in pistachio orchards. And almonds are also looking at using it in their crops.
Great. Well, gosh, it sounds as though this is a really exciting program. You have a lot of product that can be used by most of the growers if they're putting on at the 5 pound per acre rate. And it represents a tremendous coordinated effort between the agricultural industry, namely the California pistachio industry in this case, and your land-grant college, the University of California. And Dr. Klein, we thank you very much for being here today. Any other comments that you have before we demonstrate how to actually apply the product?
Well, we'd like to thank all the processors because they've incentivized the application of this product for the growers. So the growers are encouraged to apply. And of course, we'd like to thank Paramount Farming because they will be here in the second part to show how the application is actually done.
Great. Okay.